Ever feel like you could be performing better? Or maybe you're looking at your team and thinking, we're good, but we could be great.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone in that.
Well, today we're diving deep into a surprisingly nuanced area of professional life, how we actually improve performance.
Exactly. And, forget those old kind of dreaded images of formal meetings and tons of paperwork.
Right.
We're going to explore the modern performance improvement plan, the PIP, and really how it's evolving. It's becoming a powerful tool for growth, not just like a last resort.
Absolutely. We've got this really interesting resource here. It's called Performance Improvement Activities.
Hmm.
And this isn't some, dusty old manual. It's actually been updated quite a bit.
Right, with recent research, best practices.
Yeah, the latest scientific stuff. It's a big step up, apparently, from its original form, which was more like a basic PowerPoint.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to cut through the noise. We want to give you a clear, concise understanding of what effective performance improvement looks like now.
Think of it as a shortcut.
Exactly, your shortcut to getting up to speed on this really critical aspect of the workplace.
And what's fascinating right from the start is the backdrop. The whole context for PIPs is shifting.
How so?
Well, the guide highlights this. Move away from those, let's say, traditional PIPs, the ones often seen just as disciplinary.
Yeah, the punishment model.
Right. We're moving towards more fluid, development-focused strategies. And technology and data, they're playing a massive role in this change.
Okay, interesting. So let's unpack that then. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. What does a modern performance improvement plan actually look like? What are the key components?
Well, fundamentally, the guide defines a PIP as a structured process. It's for addressing performance that isn't, meeting expectations.
Okay.
Standard enough.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial difference now. The emphasis is on both accountability and providing genuine opportunities for the person to develop and succeed.
So it's not just about fixing a problem, it's about growth.
Precisely. It's seen as part of a bigger picture, a broader performance management strategy that's really focused on helping employees grow.
And this isn't just wishful thinking, is it? Sounds like there's research behind this shift.
Oh, absolutely. The guide points to an MIT Sloan Management Review study from 2019. It really highlighted this move towards more data-informed, adaptable, continuous ways of managing performance.
Continuous being the key word there, maybe.
Very much so. That old annual review model, often disconnected from the day-to-day reality, is just not cutting it in today's, faster environments.
Fewer year-end surprises, maybe. Hopefully.
That's the idea. And adding to that, Harvard Business Review, just this year, 2024, emphasized that the PIPs that really work, they're tailored.
Tailored how?
Specifically to the individual employee, and they need the manager's full support. Committed managers are key.
So manager buy-in is critical.
Absolutely. It's about fostering a culture where improvement is, normal, expected even. And then there's research from BetterWorks in 2023. It underlined the need for managers to be really transparent.
Transparent about what?
About expectations. Making sure the employee's tasks actually link up to the bigger goals.
Yeah.
And importantly, actively helping remove roadblocks.
Right. You can't just say improve and walk away.
Exactly. And of course, that means managers themselves need the right training and support from HR too.
That makes a lot of sense. You have to create the conditions for improvement. Okay, so you understand the philosophy. How do you actually pinpoint where performance needs improving in the first place?
Right. This is where the guide really stresses moving past subjective feelings.
Gut feelings.
Yeah, relying more on objective, data-driven insights. Think performance metrics, actual numbers.
Like sales figures or error rates.
Exactly. Or direct customer feedback. Even constructive input from peers through reviews. The point is to identify the gaps with specific concrete examples,
Such as?
like consistently missing deadlines, or maybe recurring quality issues in their work, something tangible.
So not just your communication's poor, but more like in these three instances, communication breakdowns led to X consequence.
Precisely. And the guide highlights how tech is becoming, pretty essential here.
How so?
HR software can track KPIs, performance dashboards give you that visual overview, shows progress, flags areas needing attention.
So moving beyond just tracking things in spreadsheets then.
Definitely. And Bamboo HR makes a really important point here. You need to differentiate.
Differentiate what?
Is the issue quantitative, like missing sales targets? Or is it more qualitative, maybe teamwork stuff, or communication style?
Okay. Different kinds of problems need different solutions.
Exactly. Understanding the nature of the gap is step one for designing the right plan. You got to dig a bit. Is it a skill gap? Do they lack resources? Or maybe there are external things impacting them?
Right. Once you have that clear picture of the issues, then it's about setting goals, right? What makes a goal effective in a PIP context?
The guide really leans on the SMART framework here. You probably know it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Classic. Yeah.
It provides clarity, focus. But the guide adds another layer. These goals should also align with the individual's own career path, their aspirations within the company,
Right.
and they need to contribute to the organization's overall objectives, too.
So it connects the dots. It's not just fixing this one thing in isolation. It's part of a bigger picture for everyone involved.
That's the idea. The guide even mentions OKR's objectives and key results.
Oh yeah, objectives and key results.
Right. They offer a structured way to set ambitious goals and then track them with those measurable key results. And there's research from Clear Company, again this year, 2024, strongly backing the idea that personalized PIPs,
Back to personalization again.
yes, PIPs tailored to the individual's unique situation, their specific development needs, they're just significantly more likely to succeed than some generic template.
Makes sense. Okay, so you've defined the problem. You've set smart, personalized goals. Now, how do you actually make the improvement happen? Action plans and resources, I guess.
Exactly. This stage is about breaking down those big goals into smaller, really specific, actionable tasks.
Like what?
Well, the guide gives examples like maybe enrolling in a specific training course, or leading a small project to build a needed skill, or maybe actively working on changing a behavior with coaching.
Right, concrete steps.
And again, tech plays a role. The guide mentions using digital tools to track these action items.
Keep things visible, accountable.
Yeah, and even integrating online goal-setting platforms WeThrive is mentioned to keep employees engaged in their own plan.
Okay.
And it's worth remembering People Goals findings from looking ahead to 2025, apparently. They suggest PIPs work best when they address clear trends of negative performance.
Not just a one-off bad week.
Right. It helps make sure the plan is targeting a genuine, consistent need.
Okay, setting goals, outlining actions, that's one thing. But people need support, right?
Right.
What kind of resources and support should be part of a modest PIP?
Crucial point. The guide lists quite a range. Things like access to online learning, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, those platforms.
Skill development on demand.
Exactly. Internal mentorship programs can be huge, pairing them with experienced colleagues, maybe using the company's own learning management system, the LMS, for structured courses. It's about providing the tools and the knowledge.
And it's not just formal training courses, is it? I think the guide mentioned supporting flexible work, too.
It does. Providing the right digital resources for people working flexibly is important now, recognizing people work differently. And SHRM, the HR organization, their 2024 insights really stress the need for adequate support.
What does adequate mean in this context?
It's more than just access. It means giving the employee enough time to actually do the training or development work.
Right, carving out space for it.
And ensuring they can tap into the right expertise. Maybe a subject matter expert, a senior colleague for guidance. And importantly, tailoring resources to how the individual learns best.
Matching resources to learning styles. Okay, so beyond resources, what about ongoing support and expectations? How critical are those?
Absolutely essential. The guide emphasizes that the manager shifts into more of a coaching role during a PIP. Regular guidance, feedback.
Less judging, more helping.
That's the aim. And HR acts as an advisor, supporting both the manager and the employee. Sometimes peer coaching, or even access to confidential counseling outside the direct line management, can be really beneficial. It's about building a solid support system.
The guide mentions team-based support, like peer coaching specifically. That sounds interesting, kind of collaborative.
It can be very powerful. And a Harvard Business Review piece from back in 2016 really highlighted the impact of frequent development-focused chats between managers and their teams.
So constant conversation is key.
During a PIP, absolutely. And when it comes to expectations, crystal clear. The guide stresses defining the specific behaviors and performance standards needed, making sure they're realistic, mutually understood.
Everyone on the same page.
Yes, and linking these to potential career growth can be a good motivator too. Plus, the guide notes the value of using 360-degree feedback data.
Input from peers, reports.
Exactly. To get a more rounded view of expectations. And Gartner's research, cited in ShiftBase, backs this up. Aligning individual career hopes with company goals drives engagement with the PIP.
Okay, so you've got the plan, the resources, the support, clear expectations. How do you track progress? Make sure it's actually working.
Regular check-ins are vital. The guide suggests weekly or maybe bi-weekly meetings. These are on top of any more formal progress reviews scheduled at set intervals.
Keeping a close eye on things.
And like we've said, those digital dashboards, project tools, super useful for real-time visibility on how things are going against the goals and actions.
Tech helping keep everyone informed and accountable. Maybe even automated reminders.
Yeah, that can help too. And the final piece, just as important, is the follow-up.
How you wrap it up.
Well, how you formally review the progress, yes. But maybe more importantly, how you ensure that any improvements actually stick long-term.
Sustainability.
Right. The guide recommends mixing formal reviews with those frequent informal feedback chats. It also suggests tools like 360 feedback again or self-assessments to get a full picture of the development.
See how things have shifted.
And, crucially, recognize progress. Acknowledge the wins. The guide mentions using digital platforms or internal comms to give timely, visible feedback and celebrate milestones. BetterWorks 2023 research really hits on supportive follow-up, not just for praise, but to spot and tackle any new barriers popping up.
Okay, wow. So, stepping back now, looking at the bigger picture, what are the main shifts, the key takeaways from all this?
The guide really crystallizes a few major trends.
Hmm.
Number one, a fundamental shift away from that old, often fear-based punitive approach.
It was a stick approach.
Right, towards a culture that prioritizes employee development and growth. It's about equipping people to succeed, not just pointing out failures.
That's a huge mindset change, isn't it? And it sounds like the annual review is kind of fading in importance.
It really is.
Mhm.
The strong trend is towards continuous feedback, ongoing monitoring, frequent, smaller conversations, adjustments, not waiting for the big, stressful annual meeting.
More agile, maybe.
Exactly. And we can't ignore the huge role of data and tech everywhere here. Identifying issues, tracking progress, HR software, dashboards, AI analytics, online goal platforms. It's all woven in now.
And that one-size-fits-all PIP, definitely out.
Definitely out.
Hmm.
Personalization is key. Tailoring the plan to the individual's specific needs, challenges, career hopes, that's seen as critical for effectiveness now.
And the manager's role changing, too.
Big time.
Hmm.
Shifting from just evaluator to more of a coach, a mentor, providing support, guidance, fostering psychological safety so people feel okay learning from mistakes.
Creating that safe space to grow.
Yes. And finally, the guide hammers home the importance of clear, realistic, agreed-upon expectations. Maybe using 360 feedback to make sure everyone truly understands what success looks like.
You know, what really jumped out at me through all this was that consistent point about tailoring the PIPs. It just feels intuitively right, doesn't it? That a plan designed for me, my situation, would work better than some generic form.
It does. It acknowledges that everyone's different, unique skills, challenges, goals. It probably fosters more ownership, more commitment to making it work.
So wrapping this up,
Yeah.
what does all this mean for you, our listener?
Well, look, whether you're thinking about your own performance or you're a manager trying to help your team grow, understanding these modern approaches is, frankly, invaluable.
How so?
If you're an employee, it empowers you. You can be more proactive about your own development. You understand the why behind performance processes in your company.
And if you are managing people,
Then this gives you a framework, right? A way to implement more effective, more supportive, and hopefully more successful improvement plans for your team.
it feels like the core message is moving away from seeing underperformance just as a negative thing to fix.
Exactly. Towards actively building a culture where continuous growth, development, positive contribution, that's the norm. It's moving past those old, frankly, punitive methods and embracing something more human-centered, more data-informed.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Consider how these ideas, continuous feedback, personalized goals, focusing on development, could apply maybe not just in formal work plans, but in any area where you're looking to improve or grow. What small shift, what small step could you make today based on what we've talked about?